The cable was marked identity from CIA headquarters to the detention site known as COBALT, dated November 27, 2002. It read the interrogation plan for detainee Abu Zubaydah has been approved. The plan includes, as necessary, the use of the waterboard, walling, cramped confinement, and sleep deprivation. You are authorized to proceed. Think of a single shipping container, not the kind stacked on cargo ships, but one sitting alone on a stretch of concrete, its doors welded shut except for a small hatch. That container was not built for transport. It was built to disappear sound. Inside, the walls were painted white, not for cleanliness, but so that every mark, every smear would be visible to the men watching from behind the one-way glass. That container was a room in the torture house. And what happened inside it was documented in real time, on videotape, until someone decided the tapes were the real threat. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Crime Files 911. Because we don't just cover the story, the records already knew. The public was told the program was lawful, necessary, effective. On September 6, 2006, President George W. Bush stood in the East Room and acknowledged the existence of a CIA detention program for the first time. He called it a vital tool that had saved lives. He said detainees were treated humanly. He did not mention the shipping container. He did not mention the waterboard being applied 83 times to one man in a single month. He did not mention that the Justice Department had written memos redefining torture to mean only the pain equivalent to organ failure or death. The gap between the presidential podium and the concrete floor of COBALT is the entire story. It is measured not in miles, but in the distance between what was authorized on paper and what was actually done inside those white walls. The detention and interrogation program did not begin with a presidential order. It began with a question. On September 17, 2001, 6 days after the World Trade Center fell, the CIA's Counterterrorist Center drafted a cable asking for the authorities to capture, detain, and interrogate high-value targets. The answer came in a classified presidential finding, signed with a thick black pen. That signature unlocked a chain of events that led directly to a secret facility in the North Kabul countryside, a place the CIA called the Salt Pit. Before the Salt Pit, the agency had never held a long-term secret prisoner. After it, they would hold over 100. The first prisoner to die in CIA custody did so inside a building that was never meant to hold a human being overnight. Gul Rahman arrived at the Salt Pit in October 2002. He was stripped, chained to a cold concrete wall, and left there. The site's interrogators noted in a cable that the temperature inside would drop near freezing at night. They did not move him. They did not blanket him. The next morning, he was dead. The CIA's own Inspector General later found that the officers on site had failed to provide basic care. The autopsy listed hypothermia. The internal review called it a death by neglect. The officer responsible received a verbal reprimand. Nothing more. The records already knew. Everything that followed Rahman's death unfolded in a bureaucracy's shadow. Stacks of cables, legal memos, medical records, and daily situation reports. While the outside world debated whether enhanced interrogation techniques constituted torture, the paper trail inside the intelligence community was building a parallel narrative, one that contradicted the public assurances almost in real time. On August 2002, Assistant Attorney General J. Bybee signed the first of the so-called torture memos, which asserted that the federal torture statute applied only to pain equivalent in intensity to the pain accompanying serious physical injury, such as organ failure, impairment of bodily function, or even death. That memo, written in dense legalese, was a permission slip dressed as a legal analysis. It was faxed to CIA headquarters that afternoon. Within weeks, the waterboard was deployed. Here is where the thriller element reconfigures the timeline. Imagine a clock not counting down to a bomb, but counting up toward accountability. Every day the program operated, the evidence grew. Every videotape that recorded an interrogation session became a future exhibit. So the question becomes not whether the techniques produced intelligence, but this: at what exact moment did the architects of the program realize that the records would outlast their usefulness and that the only way to protect the secret was to destroy the proof? The tapes were the program's own creation. In early 2002, CIA officers decided to record interrogations of Abu Zubaydah, al-Rahim, al-Nashiri to maintain a chain of custody of the intelligence. The cameras ran 24 hours a day. The tapes showed everything: the water pouring, the gurney tilting, the panicked breathing. They were stored in a safe at the black site. Then, in November 2005, CIA Director Porter Goss approved their destruction. The order went to the station chief. The tapes were fed into a shredder, then burned. The official reason given later: to protect the identities of the officers involved. The other reason, never written down but obvious to anyone who had seen the tapes: they depicted acts that a federal prosecutor might one day call felonies. Congressional investigators later reconstructed what happened not from the tapes themselves, but from the daily cables that described their content. The Senate Intelligence Committee's 2014 report on the CIA's detention and interrogation program ran to 700 pages. The executive summary alone, the part the public got to read, is 525 pages. Within it, item after item shows the chasm between what the CIA told the White House, the Department of Justice, and the Congress, and what the cables actually recorded. The CIA told the Department of Justice that the waterboard was applied to Abu Zubaydah 83 times in a single month. What it did not say was that some of those sessions were so extreme that medical personnel had to intervene to prevent drowning. The cables noted that Zubaydah's chest moved violently, and that water gushed from his mouth. The Department of Justice was assured the procedure posed no risk of permanent harm. The medical logs showed something different. The records already knew. By 2004, the CIA's own Office of the Inspector General had opened an investigation into the program. The resulting report, completed in May 2004 and still largely classified, found that the techniques had deviated from an authorized plan, that the legal basis was inadequate, and that the medical monitoring was inconsistent. The full report remains a sealed document, but people inside the agency who read it described it to the Senate investigators as scathing. One officer told the committee that after the Inspector General's report circulated, the attitude was "we're dead." Yet the program continued for another 2 years. During those 2 years, detainees were held in sites scattered across the globe in Thailand, Poland, Romania, Lithuania, Afghanistan. Each site had a different code name. Each became a node in a legal no man's land. The host countries had no jurisdiction. U.S. courts had no presence. In one facility, a detainee was subjected to what the Senate report called rectal rehydration, without medical necessity, a practice the CIA later claimed was for health purposes. In cables, the officers described it differently. In another facility, a detainee was forced to stand for 3 straight days, shackled while loud music played. When he hallucinated, the interrogator asked for his head to be wrapped in duct tape. All of this was documented, sent up the chain and filed. The parallel narrative here is not just about the abuse. It is about the simultaneous construction of a cover story. While interrogators were pushing the limits of the approved techniques, lawyers at the Department of Justice were issuing new memos that expanded those limits. In May 2005, the Office of Legal Counsel issued an opinion declaring that techniques including waterboarding, sleep deprivation, and stress positions did not violate the Convention Against Torture, because the U.S. had ratified the treaty with an understanding that cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment was defined by the U.S. Constitution, and the CI program, according to the Justice Department, did not shock the conscience. The document's existence was secret. Its effect was immediate. The interrogators now had a revised shield. When the program was finally terminated by executive order in January 2009, the physical infrastructure of the torture house remained. The shipping containers were dismantled. The concrete floors were scrubbed. The logbooks were boxed and shipped to a record center in Virginia. The detainees who survived were either transferred to Guantanamo Bay or repatriated. Many have never been charged with a crime. One of them, Abu Zubaydah, has never been convicted of any terrorist offense and remains at Guantanamo in indefinite detention. His legal status is an artifact of the same system that waterboarded him. A process that began with a secret finding, continued with secret memos, and ended with secret destruction of evidence. The unanswered question is not whether the program happened. The Senate report and the CIA's own documents prove that it did. The unanswered question is who will ever be held responsible for it. No CI officer has been criminally prosecuted for the abuse. No Department of Justice lawyer who authored the torture memos faced sanction. When the Senate report was released, then CEA Director John Brennan acknowledged that mistakes were made, but insisted the program had value. The report itself contradicted him, finding that the techniques produced no unique, actionable intelligence that could not have been obtained by other means. The irony is that the very records the CIA kept to prove its own effectiveness became the evidence that undid that claim. The moral of this story is not that America abandoned its principles. It is that America kept meticulous records while doing it. The paper trail is so complete, so detailed, that it eliminates any possibility of ignorance. The Senate report contains footnote citations to over 38,000 documents. The records already knew. Now, if you want to see the evidence for yourself, there is one document you should read. It is the executive summary of the Senate Intelligence Committee's study of the CIA's detention and interrogation program, released to the public on December 9, 2014. It is available on the Senate website. Go to page 42. Find the section on the interrogation of Abu Zubaydah. Read it, then answer this question in the comments below: if the waterboard was used 83 times in a single month, and the CIA's own Inspector General later called the legal basis inadequate, why has no one ever stood trial? I want to hear your answer. If you believe that evidence matters and that records never lie even when people do, then like this video, share it, subscribe to Crime Files 911, and turn on notifications. We don't chase headlines, we follow the paper, and the paper tells the story the press conferences never will.